Welcome to this deep dive. Our mission here is pretty simple, really. Take a stack of sources, unpack them properly, and pull out those essential insights you need. Basically, cutting through the noise so you feel genuinely well-informed.
Yeah, get straight to the point.
Exactly. So today, we're digging into some, well, pretty significant AI developments. These are things reported around June 9th, 2025.
Right.
We've looked at sources covering potential job disruption, some really interesting advances in AI voice tech, and also the global AI competition picture.
Three big areas that definitely stood out from the recent, web reports and what's buzzing on social media. It feels quite focused this time, different from maybe past discussions on, say, AI cyber threats or general security stuff.
Okay, let's unpack that first one then, because it sounds like a pretty major warning, doesn't it, about
Yeah.
AI and jobs, coming from someone quite high profile in the field.
It is. Yeah, we're talking about Dario Amodei. He's the CEO of Anthropic. And the source material highlights this specific number he mentioned. Predicting AI could potentially lead to something like 20% unemployment.
20%, wow.
And within the next 5 years.
Okay, hold on. 20% in 5 years, that feels
Ah.
incredibly fast. How do the sources say that might happen? What's the mechanism there?
Well, the core idea is automation, but it's sort of targeted automation. The
Mhm.
sources are pointing specifically at entry-level, white-collar jobs.
Like data entry.
Exactly. Data entry, basic customer service chats, administrative tasks that are quite repetitive or follow clear rules. The suggestion is AI could slash those roles by maybe 50% or even more.
50%.
Yeah. And the sources use this phrase, a silent workforce shift.
A silent workforce shift. Why silent?
Because it might not be like, a big factory closing down suddenly. It's more the gradual disappearance of these tasks, these roles, from office settings as AI tools just get better and, well, more embedded in workflows.
That phrase really paints a picture. And for you listening, this isn't just some abstract number. I mean, this prediction, it throws up really urgent questions, right? About economic adaptation, about retraining people.
Massive retraining needs, potentially.
Yeah, and it puts pressure, real pressure, on governments, on industries, to think about workforce policies, about how we handle automation.
Absolutely. It really sharpens that ongoing debate. AI efficiency gains versus the potential social cost. If we don't manage this transition carefully, that debate feels like it's heating up fast.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From that huge economic picture to something more personal, how we actually interact with AI. OpenAI has apparently done something significant with ChatGPT's voice.
Yes, the sources point to a big enhancement for the voice mode in ChatGPT. The aim is making it sound, well, a lot more natural, more fluid, maybe more human-like even.
Trying to improve that conversational flow so it feels less like talking at a machine.
Exactly. For things like virtual assistants, maybe learning tools, or just, casual chats. Less clunky.
One source described it as giving ChatGPT a personality boost, which is an interesting way to put it.
It is.
And this is apparently rolling out now. And it's happening while others, like Google with Gemini, are pushing hard on conversational AI too. It's a competitive space.
Definitely competitive, but what's really interesting, according to the sources, is how people are reacting.
Yeah.
Well, the goal is naturalness, right? But some users, you see comments on X, for example, they're debating if it feels maybe too polished.
Too polished, like uncanny valley territory.
Sort of, or maybe losing that expected AI quality, Does it feel less authentic in a new way? There's this real sensitivity emerging around just how human-like we want these AI assistants to sound.
That's a great point. And for you listening, why does this actually matter? Well, a voice that sounds really human could unlock huge potential, couldn't it? Customer service, education, accessibility, anywhere that interaction quality is key.
Huge potential, yes.
But like you said, that user debate flags the other side. It ramps up those really important discussions about AI mimicking humans, about trust, and frankly, the ethical lines we're drawing around these interactions as they get smoother and smoother.
It adds another layer of complexity to how we relate to AI, for sure.
Okay, so let's zoom out again. From the personal interaction to the global stage, the U.S.-China AI race. The sources are highlighting some notable progress from China.
Yeah, this brings us to DeepSeek. It's a Chinese company, and apparently they're making pretty big strides with their latest AI model, the R1.
Strides how?
Well, web reports are pointing to benchmarks where this model seems to be outperforming rivals.
Hmm.
Even models from Meta, maybe OpenAI on certain tasks.
Outperforming them. But wait, what makes that really stand out, according to the sources, is the backdrop, right? The U.S. restrictions on advanced chip exports to China.
Exactly, that's the context. This progress is apparently happening despite those efforts to limit China's access to the high-end hardware needed for training these massive models.
So how are they doing it? Do the sources give any clues?
It's interesting. DeepSeek's approach is described in one source as like low cost and really rapid development, kind of a scrappy underdog thriving under pressure vibe.
Scrappy underdog.
Yeah. Suggesting they might be finding ways around hardware limits, maybe through clever software, different model architectures, or just sheer speed. Though it's important to add, the sources also mention allegations
Allegation.
about data scraping, potentially using data scraped from other models, maybe including ones from OpenAI, to help accelerate their own development.
Ah, okay. That definitely adds a layer of complexity to how they might be achieving this. And the reactions.
Mixed, as you might expect. The sources mention praise for the innovation, doing this under constraints, but also real concerns about security risks, given the speed and those scraping allegations.
So connecting this back to the bigger picture, DeepSeek's performance, if these reports hold up, shows China's AI scene is pretty resilient,
Yeah.
maybe more adaptable than some thought.
It certainly suggests that. It implies the tech rivalry is intensifying, and maybe that export controls on hardware alone, well, they might not be enough to significantly slow down certain kinds of AI progress. It could force a rethink of global strategy.
And for you, the listener, why this matters is it could ripple out into future global AI rules, trade policies, export controls. If one approach isn't working as expected, what comes next on that international chessboard?
It definitely shifts the strategic thinking.
Right. Now let's bring it back home. Circle back to that very first story we talked about, the AI job impact. Because clearly this isn't just analysts talking. People are reacting to this quite strongly. Let's look at the trend spotlight, #AI jobs.
Exactly. That hashtag AI jobs has been trending, especially on X. And it seems directly linked to that Anthropic warning, the emoji prediction we discussed earlier.
And what kind of reactions are the sources seeing under that hashtag? Is it all panic?
Not entirely. It's actually quite a mix. You definitely see a lot of concern, worry about job losses, which is understandable given that 20% figure.
Yeah.
But it's really mixed in with calls for action, people pushing for better AI education, more skills training. And this kind of sentiment, you see it summed up like, AI is taking jobs, yeah, but it's also creating new ones time to adapt.
So a blend of anxiety and maybe determination.
Yeah, the overall mood described in this list is just that. This blend of worry and a sort of, determined optimism. It really captures the uncertainty we're all feeling about AI's economic effects right now.
And why this trend matters for you listening is it just hammers home that this potential job disruption isn't some far-off theory. It's a real-world concern people are actively talking about, debating, trying to figure out right now.
It really underscores the need for those proactive measures we talked about from everyone, individuals, companies, governments.
Definitely hitting close to home.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, we've covered quite a bit. That potential for rapid, significant AI job impact highlighted by Amadei. The way AI interaction itself is changing, becoming more natural with things like OpenAI's voice update and the complex reactions to that.
And also the global dynamics, like DeepSeek showing China's progress despite constraints, heating up that tech rivalry.
Right. And taken together, these pieces from the sources really paint a picture of just how fast things are moving, how complex it all is economically, technologically, geopolitically, all at once.
It's definitely a lot happening simultaneously.
It is. Which leads us to a final thought, something for you to maybe mull over drawing all this together. Given these simultaneous pressures, the job disruption fears, AI becoming more seamlessly integrated into our interactions, and this intense global race pushing the boundaries, what parts of your own adaptation, your own learning, feel most critical right now? In this rapidly shifting landscape, what skills or perspectives feel essential for you moving forward?